This is my latest project, workshop cabinets with drawers and organizer boxes to store small parts. The cabinets have to be able to hold quite a lot of weight, so I made them with hard birch plywood. To lighten the total weight of the project a little, I used light poplar plywood to make the drawers. To open and close the drawers, I used the same system I had used in my other workbenches, which I have in my workshop, and you can see in these shots. I cut some dados on the sides where the drawer bottoms will slide. This system allows us to open the drawer almost completely. I'm going to remove the top so that we can take a better look at how it works. It's a simple but effective system that will reduce the weight and the cost that come with having to install common drawer slides. Other advantages of this system are that we can move the drawers around the workshop or change their positions in the cabinets. In the back of the drawers, I installed two removable dividers to store all kinds of fasteners. To join the bottom of the drawers to the sides, I used quite a few screws, especially where the organizer boxes are placed. This is the place that has to bear the most weight, but I don't think it will be a problem if done this way. You may have noticed the back of the bottom juts out a little from the drawer. This will help me open the drawer even more. A way to make the drawers slide more smoothly when opening and closing them is to apply some beeswax on the part of the bottom which slides along the side of the cabinet. If the drawer is very heavy, this trick will be very useful. If, however, the drawer doesn't have a lot of weight, this step won't be necessary. In these shots you can see how easily and quickly I can place the 9 drawers I've installed in each of the cabinets. I designed these modules so that the organizer boxes can be opened and closed inside the drawers. To open the drawers, we can use the organizer's handle or the handle I machined on the bottom of the drawers. The organizers can also be removed so that you can take them somewhere else without needing to open the drawer. To do this, simply raise it a little so that it will clear the small wooden stop I installed in the bottom of the drawer. This is the 3D file included in the plans for sale on my website. The sides of the modules measure 620 millimeters in depth. If the boards you can get are smaller than the ones I used, you could consider making the sides 600 millimeters deep and cutting the back part of the bottom which sticks out. This is the second reason I designed it this way, so I could adapt the design to different board measurements. These are the interior measurements of the drawers. I think few fastener storage cases are over 70 millimeters high, but yours might be deeper or wider. If it's deeper, you only have to move the middle part of the drawer as much as necessary. If it's wider, you have to cut or lengthen the affected parts, the bottoms, the middle parts, and the back of the drawers. The plans also include a printable template that you can glue onto the board to help you machine the drawer handles. Since we're dealing with a lot of drawers, I've come up with a system to speed up the construction and machining processes. If you're interested, you can see this later in this video. To join the modules together, I used screws. In these shots, you can see the floor of my workshop is not square with a wall. To correct these kinds of errors, I installed some height-adjustable legs. In the drawers, I stored all kinds of fasteners, sorted by purpose and size. In some compartment cases, I stored the screws I use most often by sizes. In the back, I placed cases to refill the organizers as I go through all my fasteners. It wasn't easy to make this many drawers, but I think it's a job worth doing. I used to waste a lot of time looking for fasteners, and sometimes I couldn't find them. This way I can always keep them on hand and know where they are. I'm planning to make new cabinets similar to these ones to be used with drawer-like plastic storage boxes. If you're interested in this project, let me know in the comments. Now I'll show you how to make these small parts storage cabinets. I've ordered almost all of the materials cut at the same place where I buy lumber to make the building process quicker. Now I'm going to install the dado blade to the blade saw to cut grooves where the drawers will slide. The sliding carriage of my homemade table saw will be perfect for this job. I'm also going to make the required cuts to install the plinth on the lower part of the sides. I'll finish these cuts with a jigsaw. I've decided to use biscuits to join the sides and bases of the cabinets. In the plans I used screws. Either method is perfectly valid. Now that it's easier, I'll sand down the inner sides of the cabinets. Now I place the biscuits with a little glue and some clamps to join all of the parts of the cabinets together. I've glued 4 pieces of plywood to the lower part of the sides to make them thicker and so that I can install the threaded insert required for the adjustable legs. I have to use 2 bits with different diameters. I'm going to sand down all the inner sides and edges of the drawers. The most comfortable and quicker way to do this is to try and sand all the pieces at the same time. Besides, this way it will be more difficult to warp the edges. It's time to drill all the required countersunk holes to assemble the drawers. I've glued a strip of plywood with 2 pencil markings to the top of my column drill. This way I can drill the holes quicker. I'm also going to cut other grooves to install the dividers. This step is optional. It's time to put the drawers together. I'll use my old plywood jig and a clamp. First, I'll use the previously drilled holes as a guide to drill the holes in the back piece of the drawers. Then I apply some glue and fasten the screws. To screw on the middle piece, I'll place the dividers to use them as a reference. To fasten the screws, I'll follow the same steps as before. On top of one of the box bottoms, I'm going to glue on the printable template included in the plans. This will help me cut this piece into shape, which I'll use as a reference to cut the rest of the 18 box bottoms. First, I'll drill 2 holes with the required diameter. Then I'll use the jigsaw to cut the inner part of the handle. I'll use the router with a parallel guide I made a few days ago to finish shaping the handle. Here, the incremental system of this jig will come in handy. I'll finish machining the workpieces with a table saw and a jigsaw. I'll use the box bottom I just made to mark the required cuts on the rest of the box bottoms. I'll cut them with a bandsaw. Now I'm going to mark and drill the required countersunk holes in the bottom piece I had already made. I'm going to fasten some screws that will jut out a couple of millimeters. You'll understand this step in a few minutes. Here are the 17 bottom parts I have to cut into shape. One by one, I put them on the bench, and then place the bottom part that's already done on top of them. I'll hit them so that the screws will leave a mark on the lower piece. This way I'll have some marks I can later use to drill the holes, and this will also prevent the bottom parts from moving while I use the router. I'll use my router with a flush trim bit. Here you can see the marks left by the screws. Now I can finish putting the drawers together. I noticed some of the sides are a little crooked, so I'm going to use a piece as a spacer and hold them with my workbench vise so that when I fasten the bottoms, the sides will be straight. I'll use a strip of plywood to center the box bottoms and use the previously drilled holes as a guide to drill the sides. All that's left is to place the stop for the organizer boxes. I'll use super glue and some screws. That's all for today. Thank you for watching this video until the end.